Hey guys, it's King. Welcome to another Autism Digest interview, where today we have another individual who made me the person I am today. He's a former teacher at Siegel High School, where I went to high school. He was a former cross country coach. He won 3 consecutive cross country championships with Siegel Stars, and he was actually my cross country coach as well. He is Coach Phil Young. Thanks for coming on, Coach Young.
Hi, good morning, Caden. Thanks for having me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. My first question for you is, for those that may not know you, do you mind telling us your story in your own words?
Oh, well, that's 63 years, and that's a long time to share everything about me. Where would you like me to start to be more specific?
To be more specific, maybe your education and cross-country career?
Well, undergrad, I went to Barton College in Wilson, North Carolina, and then I have a master's degree from George Washington University in tourism and administration, sport management, and then I have a education specialist from Middle Tennessee State University. I didn't choose to go and become an administrator. I enjoyed being in the classroom. I taught 11 years in Fairfax County, outside Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia. And then I taught 20 years at Rutherford County Schools and at Siegel High School in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And in 2023, I decided to back off from teaching and take a leave. And so I retired, or semi-retired, and I just kind of haven't gone back yet.
That's a very great summary.
And then I also coached. I originally was a basketball coach and head basketball coach when I was in Fairfax County for 3 years, but I didn't really have very good players, and I really wasn't that good of a communicator. I loved basketball. I knew basketball, but I had a lot of growing up to do at age 30. So at age 45, I had the opportunity to take over as the head cross country coach at Siegel High School. And you always look back on things, and you learned a lot from the areas where you didn't succeed earlier, and you grow and you become better at what you did. And I enjoyed coaching cross country. I helped coach track, and we had a lot of success. But all the success that we had was because of the team culture and the relationships that we built, and just the trust, and the team members trusted me and I trusted them. And when you build trust, they feel successful, and they want to do a lot of things that are hard, and they want to be able to do hard things. And running is hard, as you remember very, very easily, I'm sure. And so we were fortunate to have some success. It was because of them that we had success.
I definitely remember that running was hard for me. I've improved since we last saw each other. Of course, I'm actually thinking about running a local marathon in my area this Thanksgiving. But those were some of the best years of my life, which leads to my next question. As a former teacher, how do you think the education system in the United States can be improved to be more accommodating to neurodivergent individuals?
Wow, that's a loaded question there, Caden. Our education system's going through a lot of changes right now, and some of them aren't for the best. At least from what I've heard, I'm not in the classroom anymore, so I'm not seeing what the changes were. It is difficult. You have students that are so unique and so talented, and such great people. They don't necessarily fit in with everybody else that's in the classroom, and it's hard on them. It's hard on the students in the classroom, and it's also hard on the teacher. But it's a teacher's responsibility to build that trust. I'll use the word trust a lot. Without building relationships, without having trust, you're not going to have the success with one student, let alone students who are non-divergent or special needs or what have you. And sometimes I think that that we tend to just throw everybody into a jar and expect them all to be the same. And some teachers get flustered and maybe don't have the training that they need in order to better understand how to teach those students with unique learning styles.
I absolutely agree with that. I remember my time at Sea Eagle. It wasn't perfect. In fact, no one's academic experience is, but I've had teachers that cared and tried and did a very amazing job and made me the person I am today. One thing I've been proposing is at college, we have what's called office hours, where teachers get to sit with students one-on-one for an hour so to go over whatever subjects they're having trouble with. I think we need that within all schools specifically. That way, like you said, students can build trust with certain teachers and continue to succeed. Which leads to my next question for you. What was the fondest memory of having a neurodivergent student on your cross-country team? Preferably positive.
Well, I think I was seeing you improve. Sometimes getting you to follow instructions and be a part of the team rather than trying to go and do a run on your own. I remember you kind of would want to go wherever you wanted to go, and we had to get you to understand that, hey, you're our responsibility, and if something happens to you out here, we're the ones who are going to get in trouble, not you. And so we had to get you to understand that, you wanted to do the same things. Typically, sometimes like I said, you wanted to do different, but that was just you expressing your individualism, and also you expressing that you enjoyed doing the running, and but you wanted to do it more on your own. But we wanted you to become part of the team. And once the team members stop looking at you as you have let's say being non-divergent or autistic or whatever it was, whatever label they wanted to put on you, and they decided that, hey, this is just Caden's a person. Caden's no different than I am. Caden has unique talents like I do. Caden has a unique story like I do. And let's just treat him and pretend like he's just everybody else. And then everything started to improve much better. And seeing you improve, seeing the joy and the happiness that you got when you finished the race, and you could look down at your watch, and the watch doesn't lie, and you could see, oh wow, I improved this much. And we didn't do the improving for you. You took responsibility and you did that improving. You ran each step. You had those hard breaths at the end of the race when you were really tired. We didn't do those. You learned to do that on your own and had the confidence to do that, and that was really rewarding.
It definitely was, and I definitely remember me wanting to do my own things. Sometimes letting myself have risk. I think a lot of the places we ran out were wooded areas and forests and mountains within Tennessee. So looking back at it now, those definitely made sense. Those are very dangerous areas. Like you've been saying, through that improvement and through the team's empathy and your philosophy, I was able to continue to build trust, and it's helped me maintain relationships to this day beyond the running, which leads to my next question for you. A fond memory I have during my time at cross country, and we were talking about it briefly before we filmed, is when a day or a week after we won our second cross country championship, you had us read a children's book which used the colors red and blue as a metaphor for kindness, because there was drama going on in the boys' locker room. and you wanted it to be assured that there would be no more red members on the team. Your exact words, not mine. It was one of my first times seeing you that angry because you were passionate about the team culture and having respect. How can one work on being a blue member of society when interacting with someone on the spectrum?
Oof. Again, you like to ask those loaded questions today, don't you, Caden?
I do.
I mean, it's just got to be where they people just like you use the good word empathy. Empathy is so important. So many times people don't have the empathy for others. They don't have the patience for others. They aren't willing to take a step back and maybe see the lens that you're seeing and look at that lens and realize, okay, let's step back and look at it through their eyes. And when you do that and you can get people to understand, taste your words before you spit them out, which is a big problem. Sometimes we just all of a sudden just speak rather than taking a deep breath and realizing, no, I shouldn't speak. Because I speak, I'm not going to say something that's very nice, and I don't want to do that. That's a challenge, especially high school boys are difficult. They're in their own world. Girls can become very catty with each other, and but they don't tend to make fun of and degrade each other, whereas boys tend to degrade each other because of their insecurities. They might have been the best runners and the best people on our team at that instant, but they were not the best people because they weren't kind. Um, they didn't show that they cared. They put down others, and they had to go and make fun of each other athletes, on other team members, to make them feel good, to build their self-esteem. When really all it was they were just very insecure with themselves, and that was a challenge, that to build a culture and to have a good vibe, because the better the vibe, the better the culture, then the success, as not just as a team as runners, but as a team of athletes and student athletes that blended in together to be together and spend a lot of time together. Because we spent at least 2.5, 3 hours together, 6 days a week. And when we traveled, we would spend even 7, 8 hours together as a team. So there were always going to become incidences where people didn't get along, and that was the job of the coaching staff and the leadership of your athletes to step in there and make those understand that everybody's important.
I absolutely agree with that statement. To be fair, the boys were definitely a lot of people have insecurities in high school and middle school. I know I definitely did, especially on the social side of things. But I think, to add to your statement a little bit, it's also on the parents in a way to teach their child kindness sooner rather than later, because it's my belief that everything starts in the home. And I also like what you said about how nowadays we don't think before we speak. I absolutely agree. Taking a few minutes to cover up your words, think about what you're going to say before you say it, can make a huge difference in uniting society.
Yeah, and then also we tend to hide behind the keyboard. When we get behind the keyboard, we think we can type and say whatever we want to say, and then we send it, and it's not always the best thing that we've done. The best way to, we talked about this a lot on the team, was by having conversations like you and I are having, rather than having conversations through this. I mean, this is a fun tool, but this tool can open you up to a lot of situations that you're going to have regret, because you typed and you said something that you were comfortable with at the time, and then you realized that what you said was not a good choice. It was something that hurt somebody, that didn't show empathy, didn't show that you cared, and it created a wedge between your relationship between um, those team members, or even myself as the leader. I don't really consider myself the coach. I was just a team member also, but creating a wedge between relationships there, and then you have to try and build them back up, and that takes a challenge. The other thing you said, yes, it does start at the home. It does start with the parents. Apples don't fall far from the tree, and those parents that were caring, and that were part of the team that helped contribute, they could usually tell that their son or their daughter was going to have make good choices. And some of the parents said, like, yeah, I don't really care. Those were some of the athletes, team members that tended to act out and not be the best for everybody, because that's where their insecurities came from their parents, from the home. That's a very good point you just made there, Caden.
Exactly. Thank you, Coach. My next question for you is, how can sports be an outlet for autistic and neurodivergent individuals to make friends and meaningful connections?
Well, I think that question should be better answered by you than by me, because I saw it from my lens, whereas you saw it from your lens of actually being the characteristics that you just mentioned, and you took a risk. You took a risk and said, hey, I want to be a member of this team. And by taking that risk, you put yourself out there and you opened yourself up to comments or love or empathy, or sometimes not the best part that took place. I mean, knowing now what you know, if you were to write a letter to yourself and say, hey, Caden, this is what I remember, this is why I did it, and this is why I was successful, what would you say?
Hmm. Oh, that's a good one. I would tell myself that you can do this, because I remember when I first joined the cross country team, I was starting off in high school, was scared and feeling sorry for myself because I had a hard time understanding what autism was, what the impact would be on my life, and I didn't want to embrace who I was. Uh, During my time at the team, I learned that people don't care what you're going through. They just care that you're a good person. And the lessons I've learned during that time, whether it be through a race, through the Christmas project I had you guys get involved in, is not to judge people by standards and to be empathetic towards people. I live by that philosophy to this day, especially now that I'm about to graduate college in May of 2026. And I especially like that comment you made about me opening myself up to criticisms and love and what have you, and taking risks. I still take risks to this day. Hey, whether that be academically or professionally, and I open myself up to criticism, and I open myself up to love. That's just the way the real world works, whether you're neurodivergent or not. But it's always worth it in the end, because I get to build my portfolio, talk with people about a cause I'm passionate about, and I get to live a successful life. Which leads to my last question for you.
Can I step in? I think one of your proudest moments, other than off not actually running. Do you remember when the Daily News Journal wrote that article about you?
Oh, I do. I definitely remember. I still have a copy of it in my drawer.
Well, good. You should, because that was a very proud moment for me also, because I think we all learned a lot from, and we learned more as a coach or as a team member. We learned more about we learn more from you than you learned from us. That's just my belief about it. And when you had that story written about you, that was such a great feeling, and it was so rewarding that somebody would take the time to recognize that yes, we are the same, but we all are a little bit different, and we all are unique in our own ways. And they wrote that article to give you credit for who you were, and like I said, the risks that you take and the discomfort that you went through. But that was a very proud moment when they wrote that article about you, and I still think about it fondly.
Thank you, Coach. That means a lot. Which leads to my last question. What does the future hold for you? Do you have anything that you want to promote or that you're going to be getting involved with sometime soon?
Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, Caden, but almost 7 months to the day, I had a cardiac arrest, and I actually coded for 9 minutes. And I mean, and then somebody found me laying on the ground during a run, and they gave me compressions for 9 minutes and to allow me to be able to have this conversation with you. Without that person who I call my angel being there to show up, an Air Force officer, and to give me compressions, I would have, life is a game of seconds, as we know in running, because running is all about seconds, and I would not be here. And I'm very grateful that they gave me the compressions. They saved my life. I actually coded again for 2 more minutes in the emergency room. Um, so I essentially I died. I died twice. So that would be 7 months ago on October 19th. So my life has changed a lot. I was in the hospital for over 30 days, with 35 days in cardiac rehab also. Had some ups and downs, had some difficulties that um, have changed how I view life. One of my friends told me that when I left the hospital, I would never see the outdoors again, and I don't. I don't see life the same way as I did. Um, it expressed gratitude and just I live in amazement, like, why me? When I was in the hospital laying in bed for this 37 days, I thought, well, there's little boys and little girls that are down in the cancer ward down below me. Why are they going to not be able to live, and why am I still here living? And what's my purpose? And that's a good question. I don't know, but I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak with you. And I guess my purpose is to give back to everyone that reached out to me. When you die, you never know how people feel about you, and maybe the good that you've been able to do when you die, but you are fortunate enough to live, and you read all those amazing things that people wrote for you. Sorry, it makes me um, you you realize that maybe you touched people more than you realized that you thought you did. And so I'm gonna run the New York City Marathon on November 2nd, 8 months after having cardiac arrest, and I should be dead. And every breath I take and every step I take in that marathon won't be the same as I used to be uh, before I had the cardiac arrest, before I had my heart attack. But every step I take will be for every person that helped me in my journey, in my race, before the race. in the hospital, in the ambulance, emergency room. My partner that I live with, Betsy, who I only knew 4 months at the time, and she came and saw me every day. And my daughters, and just all the relationships that I built, including our relationship. So my life's been, I'll never look at it and say, why me? And I don't ever want you to look at that you being different, but you're the same. And I don't want you to ever look at it as why me. We have things happen to us because whatever your power above, they know you can handle them. And because we can handle them, we can become a better version of ourselves. And the difficulties that you face, the difficulties that we still face, are because we can become a better version of ourselves. But we have to give ourselves a permission to become a better version of ourselves. We can't compare ourselves to our past. Like I can't compare myself. Well, I used to be a 2:47 marathon runner when I was 46 years old, and now I've had a heart attack, and I'm just going to go and run and do the best I can. I can't compare myself to that. I can't compare myself to the disability that I have because of my accident. I can't do that, and you can't do that either. So my life is to find out what my purpose is. Maybe it is to become a guest speaker. Maybe it is to become a speaker. To share my story about all my life experiences, from things that happened to me as a child, things that happened to me as a teacher, and then the relationships that I built, and then what happened to me on that day on March 19th, 2025, when I had my incident and I died. But I'm here, and I'm going to find my purpose, and I'm looking forward to running the marathon on November 2nd, so I can say that I ran 26.2 miles for everybody that touched me in my life, and they touched me more than they realize. Thank you for asking.
Of course, and thank you for telling me about that. This is a very perfect and inspirational way to end this interview. That's going to do it for this interview, guys. Thanks so much to Coach Young for coming on and sharing his extremely powerful story. If you guys want to see more amazing interviews, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Autism Digest channel. Check out our November issue that comes out next month by going to autismdigest.com. And stay tuned for the audio file to be posted on our Spotify. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.